I absolutely love making my own shop furniture, but it doesn't always have to be something that is complex or elaborate. Sometimes you just need something simple and practical that can take you from a mess like this to something like this. If you've got a small workshop or limited space like I do, then you already know the importance of having something like this serve a dual purpose. For example, having other tools in the background like this where there's lots of open space, or turning this rack into a storage container where you can put away something else like glue or even other smaller clamps and things that you don't often use. For me, the best part of this rack is the fact that you are not bound by the design. You can move your clamps around freely as you need to, and you can make this as big or as small as you need it to be. So let's jump straight into this one so you can see how easy it is to make this yourself. The first thing I did was pretty much gather all the clamps that I actually want to have on this rack. And then I just took some rough measurements to see what it is that I've got to work with. And I kind of went with the one that's got the biggest measurements. And these are the dimensions I ended up with. Something like this does not take a lot of materials to build. And I had this 3/4 inch or 16mm thick ply left from a previous project. So I'm just breaking that up into the different panels, and then we can move on to assembly. Assembling this is going to be one of the easiest jobs you'll ever do, because pretty much all I did was glue and nail it together temporarily, and then I countersunk and screw it all together. And I did the same thing for the bottom panel. But you'll also notice that I'm not actually attaching the front panels just yet. And that's because these are going to go on this backing board. This backing board is optional, but I do need it because my racks are going to go on the side of this rack that you see behind me. So it kind of needs this extra support. This, however, did turn out to be a very good thing because it gave me some ideas for other tools and things that I often use that I can also put on this board. The bottom rack I move up a little bit so that the longest clamp that I actually do want to have on here will rest on the bottom of it. So that'll just give it a little bit more support and make it hang a bit more sturdy. Now, obviously, you don't have to do it that way. You can actually hang those bigger clamps on the bottom rack. This just gives me some options. I want to be absolutely sure that this is going to hold up underneath the weight of these clamps. So I'm going to glue and screw both of these racks to this backing panel. Now that I got that spacing sorted out, I can move on to assembling the front panel. And I'm going to do the same for both top and bottom. Just nail it in place temporarily and then drill and countersink the holes and screw it all together. For the bottom rack, I kind of figured might as well turn that into additional storage space by adding a bottom. So I'm going to add a panel to that, and I'm just going to glue and nail that into place. And then the top one, kind of thought, you know what, I'm going to leave that one as is for the moment because I do know myself that one is above eye level. I'm not going to be able to see inside, and I will drop things in there and just forget about it. While I'm hanging this on the side of this rack, I do have a little favor to ask. Now, I know 2,000 subscribers is not a lot, but I'm so close to hitting that mark, and it would really mean the world to me if you could hit that subscribe button if you found any value in watching this so far. The additional ply I'm adding in here just gives your clamp a wider base to sit on, and it also makes them hang straight up and down the face. This is what the bracket looks like from the side, and as you can see, the back panel is slightly lower than the front panel, and the reason for that is once you hang your clamp on there, You don't want the front of that to basically touch on the back. So that just gives it a little bit of space, which means this part here you can make as big or as small as you want depending on the size of clamps that you are using. Also, I added a little block on the side. That just prevents anything from accidentally slipping over to the side. The possibilities for something like this are endless, but really it's the flexibility that I like the most. And if something like this works for you, then you might also be interested in building a rack like this one for your other tools. So guys, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.